Major General Sudhakarji, please stay on with me. I'll come back to you. Now, multiple American helicopters were airborne over Caracas, Venezuela. Residents confirm CH-47 Chinook helicopters flying over the capital right after the blast. The situation in the city seems to be escalating. I have Ajay Jandia joining me with more details. Ajay, what more can you tell our viewers?
Yes, American helicopters, they are flying over the Venezuelan, sky. And this is, as I said, that even that they are flying at the time when multiple blasts are taking place, explosions are taking place over there. Even our sources are saying that, President of Venezuela, he also confirmed that they are under attack of, they are under airstrike as well as the missile attack. And that is a matter of concern from them. They also called for a meeting, as far as this message is concerned. He shared this information on the X and says that we are facing a attack. And according to his, Venezuelan President Gustavo Petro on Saturday, he shared this on the social media and says right now they are bombing Caracas, alert to the whole world. They have attacked Venezuela. And he added that the Venezuelan capital was facing bombing with missile, while urging the United Nations and the Organization of American States to meet immediately. So this clearly shows that they also want some other countries to involve. As our defense expert was saying that definitely it is not America who's carrying out attack. Basically, there are some other countries, those who have interest in Venezuela, whether it is some tactics to mount their pressure on US or something. So that's why China's investment and stake in Venezuela and other Latin American areas, that has to be seen, because these are the strategic some moves of any country which they do, and China is known for these things. So let's see that what will happen. Will Venezuela get any support from any other country as far as these fresh strikes from the American forces are side doing over there?
Stay on, Ajay. Now, I also have Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, former diplomat, joining me on the broadcast. Ambassador Gupta, how do you see this attack on Venezuela?
Well, there have been reports for last several days that the American forces, military forces, have accumulated near Venezuela, and there have been these talks between the US government and the Venezuelan president, Mr. Maduro. And basically, the US is saying that some drug cartels are operating from Venezuela, and they are harming the US because those drugs are going to the US. But independent reports suggest that the allegations of the US government are not correct. There are no drugs going from Venezuela to USA. Venezuela is not the source of drugs to the United States. And even some American sources have claimed that the US government is more, President Trump is more after the oil resources of Venezuela. So in a sense, these strikes are, these alleged strikes, if these are true, are absolutely illegal. These are not, these cannot be justified under any pretext. But so far, also, though people are saying that the American helicopters are flying, Chinook helicopters and Apaches are flying over there, but still the US government is yet to make a formal statement claiming those strikes. So let us see how the situation develops, but the initial report suggests that these could possibly be those strikes, and if these reports are true, then certainly these strikes are unjustified.
All right. I have with me Major General G.G. Dwivedi also on the broadcast. Major General G.G. Dwivedi, now I just want to begin by first asking you, how do you see these attacks on Venezuela?
Well, the tension between Venezuela and US, especially, President Trump, has been building up over a period of time. and there have been certain provocative attacks by America, especially on these boats and certain shipping vessels, because I think, as far as President Trump is concerned, he is very sensitive to the regime in Venezuela. That is the point number one. And secondly, also the certain amount of drug peddling that is going on. And thirdly, sanctions that have been imposed on the Venezuelan oil, because despite the sanctions, a good deal of oil is flowing to China and to some other countries. So therefore, this was actually being anticipated, because there was statement from the Pentagon and even from the Defense Secretary and President Trump that in case this doesn't stop, then there will be certain actions which are actually manifesting. But the point I am trying to make is that such arbitrary attacks or arbitrary airstrikes are not as per as the international law, and this is certainly not acceptable as far as the international norms are concerned. But nonetheless, as we all know, that President Trump and America today, they take actions as per their own whims and fancies, and primarily it is twofold. One is the personal, I would say, on animosity or hostility of President Trump against the current regime in Venezuela, that is President Maduro, and second is the arbitrary sanctions that have been imposed by the American government, or particularly President Trump. So all I can say is that this is not in a good or healthy sign as far as international law or international diplomacy is concerned. And these arbitrary sanctions or the arbitrary actions actually dilute the bodies, other governing or the international bodies that we resort to, or we pursue them, especially when you take UN or other such bodies. So this becomes a very unilateral way of dealing with situation, which I think is not acceptable and which should not be supported. And in fact, there should be a voice against this, that this sort of action should not be, because they directly impinge on the sovereignty of a nation. And there should be a dialogue, which I think there have been indications from President Maduro that he is willing to talk it out. So I think dialogue is the best option, and such actions are not in the large interest of the peace in the region. Over to you.